Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 17 here in the Pacific Inlet logging map. We are cultivating at the moment. Well, actually, the hired help is cultivating and they're doing a pretty good job of it actually. I'm quite impressed. So they're going to carry on doing cultivating. They're going to keep going on round and doing all of the different cultivating bits. We've already been over and we've fertilized the entire patch once. If you take a look here, soil composition, it's showing that it's plowed, and we've also been over it once with the fertilizer. I think maybe there's a little... Oh, no, there isn't. I thought maybe there was a little tiny bit there that wasn't fertilized, but no, it's all done. So that's all going well. That's all going as it should be. What we want to do is we want to head over here and we need more fertilizer. Okay, we've only got one lot of... we had one pallet of fertilizer, but it's not going to be enough. We've figured out that it's not quite going to be enough to be able to do this. So I don't want to sell all of my wood chips. I want to sell just enough to be able to buy a bag of fertilizer. So I'm going to lower that one down there, and I'm going to unhitch it, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab one of those link boxes. I can only get one on at a time with this tractor. I mean, that's fine. It doesn't actually matter that we can only put one on. Bring that back like that, and hook you on there. Okay. Open up the back, and we're going to just scoop up a load here. We're probably going to have to do 2 loads in order to be able to have enough for the fertilizer. And then I'm still using the hired help. I've got no shame about using the hired help. I'm not going to make apologies for that, because hired help is something that is an integral part of this game, and I actually like using. I don't like having to do everything myself. I've always said that right from the beginning when I first started any of the Let's Plays. Hired help is something that I particularly like. So we're going to keep using hired help. Yes! Oh, that was brilliant. Okay, we are now hopelessly stuck. That was fantastic. The way that it came in round there, that is what happens when you don't pay attention to what you're doing and you're overloaded slightly. Can I get off of this fence? Oh, that was fantastic. That really was absolutely fantastic. We're a little bit stuck. I think we're going to be able to do it, though. We should just be able to back up round here. This is what happens when you drive too fast without the appropriate front weight. Right, if you don't have the appropriate front weight for your vehicle, you can cause yourselves the odd slight problem. There we go. Right. Let's try that again, shall we? That was brilliant. That was absolutely fantastic the way that happened. I'll have to be a bit more careful. We're already down $100 just from sort of jamming up against there. I ought really to just pause the hired help until I finish doing this, but I'm stubborn, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to empty that out there. And there we go. There's one lot. $700 harvest income. I'm going to need another 2 lots of this because the hired help is still running. Okay, you know what? I am going to do it. I am going to just do that momentarily. There, like that. Switch you off so we don't waste fuel either. We'll run along here. We will get one more load. I don't think we're quite... because it's $1,600. If I'd paused that one just a fraction beforehand, we probably would have gotten away with this. We're going to have to sell 3 loads, I think. I did consider, like, chopping down a tree with a chainsaw and selling that instead. I suppose I could do. We've done enough with the timber. I don't really want to do too much more with timber. Not this week, anyway. We'll just quickly run this one over here. Sell this. It's just so that I've got some fertilizer. If I can get a little bit of fertilizer there, and it's there reserved, then we're fine. We're not going to need to worry about it after this. So we'll bring that back round there and unload that. There we go. 1586. So we don't have quite enough. The only, of course, what I could do is this. If I switch you off a minute. We come over here. We've got a small tree here. I can actually pick these trees up in one go. lower you down, and I cut this one off. Right, just one of these right over here on this edge. Drop you down like that. Swing you over, and run up through this tree here like this. There. And then I'm going to cut this tree in half, because it'll get a better... Oh, hang on, no. You know, for once we are actually going to use the... how do I do it? It's the Alt. No. How do I use the tape measure? Does anybody remember how to use the tape measure? Alt click. Yeah, Alt click. No. Alt left. Alt left click. That's what you do. And we come all the way up to here. It's 13 meters. That's a little bit over the optimal range. So we want to bring that back. We sort of put it... Actually, we could go here. So we'll just chop the very tip off like that. And that can be run over and sold. And then the rest of it can also be sold as one more lot after that. And we just bring them over here and dump them into this bit. It's between... I think it's between 7... It's either 6 or 7 meters. And there's another 100. So we can actually, I can do this very quickly. If I go and buy that fertilizer a minute. So I've got it. There we go. Buy. Okay, that's done. Right. Then we can go back over here very quickly. Start you up. Set the hide help going. That's going to carry on. So that'll carry on and finish that job now. And we don't need to worry about it. So while that one's working, I can come back over here. Yeah, it's 6 or 7 meters up to 12 meters, I think, is the optimal top range. You get 120% of the log value if your logs are between those lengths. Anything shorter or longer than that, and you get a price penalty on it. So long as you're between, I think it's 7 and 12 meters, you do all right with the money. Right, so we got another 571 there from that one. That's enough just to keep us going. We don't need to worry about it now. We've got enough. We've got the money. We've got all of the machinery that we need. So we're going to lose money from this point on because we're going to be taking a hit with overnight with the loan costs. Because our loan is maxed out. We've got a completely maxed out loan. Plus we've also got machinery that we're running. So we're going to have machinery running costs as well. That's also going to cost us. So all of those things are going to add up. So overnight, we're going to end up losing quite a lot of cash. And we've just got to make sure we've got everything in place before we overnight, which we do. We had just enough money to be able to buy all the machinery that we needed for our little tasks. There, I just tipped out that little tiny bit. So I will close that one up like that. There. And now, as the cultivator is working its way on round, I'm just thinking that maybe I should have a tractor. Actually, I could use this tractor, I think. And we'll put some, not fertilizer, we'll get the seed drill on. And we'll start doing some planting. Because I don't have to plant right up to this side where the cultivator's still working to. Although the cultivator's not going to be coming up this far anymore. I can just start the planting. We can get going with that. It's our next big job that we need to do. And then everything will be planted. And that's another thing all done. There's another little item ticked off of our to-do list. That in round there a bit. There we go. Back you up. If I can. There we go. Right. Got that one on there. And, right, I definitely don't want wheat. Canola, beans, there. Grass. That's the one that I want. And open you up. I'll bring you in this way. Lower you down like that and back you up. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't actually have it, like, into the ground at the moment. Help O has completed their task. Okay. I might switch over and use the fast track for this. Start filling you up a minute. And then switch over to this one. I don't think you have finished your task quite. No, you haven't. Okay, well, as this one hasn't finished its task, it can carry on and finish its task. I will send it down over here, and it will start from this side. Just here. So all you need to do is go to that point right there, and we press H. and you do that little bit there. So you're going to carry on and do that. Then I'm going to close that lid down. I've got another load in that seed packet there of another 500 litres. Lifting it up a bit. I'm hoping we're going to be alright. It's not going to be too heavy for this one. It shouldn't be. We've got a nice wide machine here as well. I think that's going to be quite good. I'm going to do a pass across the top here. Right. Lower it down and start it. But mostly the important thing that we want to do at the moment is we want to do sort of 4 or 5 passes just down that side and along the bottom end. That's the important part. And then we can leave hired help going again. I'm more than happy to have the hired help helping us. That's what it's here for. That's the one problem with this seed drill, is that it doesn't necessarily get everything. I found this before. Not so much the seed drill. The seed drill's not so bad. The cultivator that goes with this set, we had terrible trouble with that one in the Gorilla map. We really did. It really did cause us some issues. But I think that was because it was set too high or something, or set too low behind the tractor. I think it was actually set too high, so the tractor couldn't hold it up high enough, or couldn't set it in the right position. I can't quite remember what it was, but it was definitely in the wrong place. I think they did fix it. I think they did patch out a fix for that. At least I'm hoping they did. Now we've got. Yeah, that's coming through quite nicely. I'm only going to go over this far, round to there, but we've already used 30 litres of seed just for that one trip around there. This does make me wonder if we're going to be able to do this without too much trouble. Or are we going to struggle? Don't really know at the moment. So head back this way. And I think maybe once or twice up and down the field on that side, just to tidy it up a little bit. It doesn't need anything major. We have now actually finished the cultivating. No, I'm going to go in a straight line up across here, and then I'll come back and I'll tidy up the other bit of seed in a minute, so that we've got a starting off point for our hired help to be able to work through. But before I come back up there, I'm going to go over this way and do another pass along the top there, which should give us enough room for turning up this end. So go up through here. I'm sure we've got enough room to turn here. Bring that one round. Yeah, I know, I'm turning with it in the ground. This one you really wouldn't turn very much at all with this in the ground. You would try to keep this in as straight lines as possible, just because even little turns would be twisting the coulters and everything off to the side. And on this type of older machine, those coulters would be quite delicate parts and could easily get damaged. So we're going to bring this one over again, and I'm going to do that once more. Let's go to the final pass here, but down the other end where we're going up against the water, I'm going to do an extra couple of passes. I'm just going to do 3 passes. I'll do an extra 1 or 2, just so that it does make sure that we turn properly and we're not going to run to any grief. So we're going to turn quite sharp around there. I'm just going to do it like that. Then I'm going to come in here, because I want to go back up a minute and just get that little bit there that we're going to miss, and then we can work on the piece at the bottom end. Right, stop there. Back you all the way up. And that's going to be our planting done, actually. We're not going to need to worry about any more of it, although I think we will do 1 coat of fertilizer once the planting is finished. So then we've got a double layer of fertilizer over the whole field. And the only thing that we got left to do after that is 1 more coat of fertilizer after we've had a growth stage, to just fill in that last little bit. So we're down to 400 litres on grass seed. That's okay. 400 is fine. And I want to bring this one over here. Look, I'm going to bring it sort of around there, and I'm going to try and keep this now in roughly a straight line. We'll go through here, and I'm going to do 2 or 3 more passes. Probably, well, 3 more, I think, after this. Just so that I want to make absolutely certain that I've got that properly. I want to get all the way through there, and I want to cover that all the way in. I don't want to have the slightest chance of this old Valmet driving into the lake. That would be the last thing that I would want. I'll drop you down into there like that, and on we go. I know I'm overlapping quite heavily. I'm quite happy to do that at the moment. We'll worry about non-overlapping in a minute. I could probably leave it at this, actually, because this is roughly where I was doing it last time. So we might be alright with the turning there, except there's a little bit up this end that I think is getting a bit... It's still not quite enough, so I'm going to do another pass. Just to make this safe. If we do one more pass here, then we know that we've got it all covered, and we haven't got any issues. Bring you forward again and lower you down, and then off we go all the way up through there. That's going to be safe. We're not going to have any problems now with it trying to go right to the end and jumping off into the lake. I'm not doing this with any kind of hired help that is going to, like, I'm not using like the Courseplay or the AI vehicle extension. I have heard a rumor from a number of people, and I've heard this from other sources as well, that the makers of Courseplay are working with Giants in order to have Courseplay ready pretty much for the release of FS17. I don't know if it's going to be exactly on the release of FS17, but it's going to be pretty close. There, see, that's the one that I don't want. That being said, though, I don't think we've got the AI vehicle extension, the makers of the AI vehicle extension working on something like that. That to me is a bit disappointing because as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Courseplay. I do find it to be rather clunky and not overly intuitive. You've got to sort of... There's an awful lot to it that seems a little bit overly complex. I would prefer something a little bit simpler. And the AI vehicle extension, I find to be that. It is simpler and it's easier to use. So I really hope that the makers of the AI vehicle extension are also able to sort of be allowed to work with Giants and get this one out for close to the beginning of FS19. If they can, that would be absolutely fantastic. It really would, because this mod really does, look, that mod does really make a difference to me. I don't use it all the time, as you know. Very often I'll switch it off, but for things like combining and stuff like that, I frequently use that mod, and it's absolutely fantastic. Right, we've got... You're coming on round. You're doing just fine here. I'm going to watch it up to the other end, and we'll go and get our fast track over there, and we'll go and park up with that one. We cannot afford luxuries like things for hosing off our machinery at the moment. Such things are frivolous. Is it frivolous? No, frivolities. Such frivolities are frivolous and not within our budget. £5 for one of those washers, and we don't currently have £5, so that's not something that we're going to be able to do at the moment. But I just wanted to follow this one up here because I want to switch over and do this turn myself so that I can bring it right back down to the end, and I don't have a gap left down on here. So I'll bring you round and put you to... It's about there, I think. It's not far off of that point right there. Forward a bit, and there. Right, that one is working. I can now switch over to you, start you up, and we've got nothing down this end. We've got there's like the odd little tiny bit here that we could do something with. We don't need to do all of it, as long as we've got the majority of it done. We don't actually suffer penalties for not getting cultivation done properly. It's mostly that is for me, because you know you're supposed to cultivate, so that most of that is just for me. It's for flavour rather than anything else, and because I am trying to do this series realistically if I can. I'm not going to go messing with the cultivator over there, because all I'm going to do is cultivate in the grass seed, so we'll leave that, and we'll bring this one over here. Now we're going to need somewhere to store our machinery. Leaving it in a line like this is not something that I want to do over long term. So we'll bring some of this over here. We've got some logging machinery in there we might be glad of getting. But like this cultivator, probably not going to want that one for a while. I'm going to want it before I want that trailer though, so I'll put it in front of the trailer. I can lower that one down there. And you can stay there. So the next machine that I'm going to want with this JCB is actually going to be the fertilizer spreader. I'm going to do the fertilizing with that one. So we'll get you hitched on. Like that. And I'm really hoping that I can actually use those 2 mowers with this JCB. I see no reason why I won't be able to. I think that is going to work quite nicely. But that's all I need to do with that one. And then this one over here, you're working well now. So now all we got to do is wait for this one to plant and finish planting all of this. I've got the hired help busy helping me out on this, which is fantastic. It's doing a wonderful job. So let's have a look over here. See, again, like the tractors, I don't want to be just leaving these lying around. Now, we've got a barn over there. We could use the barn, but I'm kind of thinking that this barn is... Well, I don't think we should be using it as machinery storage. I know we bring our bales in here and we sell our bales in here. At least that's the theory behind it. I certainly hope we can sell our bales in here, because if we can't, we're going to be in serious trouble. We're making all these bales. If this doesn't actually work as a proper sell point, we're going to be in serious trouble. I think it'll be all right. I see no reason why it won't be. Now, if we've got all of that working, and we don't have anything else to do for a while, just while we're waiting for that to sort of clear up, maybe we could actually start working on some more stuff. Well, I'm going to bring the tractor over this way a minute and put this one out the way. I'll bring you over here. See, this, actually, I'm seriously considering selling this tractor now, because I don't know that we'd be using it for a lot else. You know, we don't really need 3 tractors here. But while that one's going, I thought we could take a little drive around. We've got a lovely fast tractor here that can cover a decent bit of ground. So if I actually unhitch that one, I'll leave that one where he is. And we're going to head... Hang on, I want to bring the map up. We've got this area here that we're working on, and there's another area right there that I thought could be quite good to work on, or start working towards it anyway, because you've got this flat level area directly behind the service station here. So look, you've got all this nice flat ground here, and there is a lot of flat ground here. It slopes upwards from here, but it's not particularly steep. Right, none of it seems particularly steep. I mean, we can jump out there a minute and start heading in this way. You've got... It does start to rise up here, but it's not too steep. I don't think this is too steep. We've got a stump in the ground right there that we'd have to take out, and there does actually appear to be an entire tree buried under the ground there. And we've got rocky patches here in the middle. Those might make life difficult, but I quite like the idea of having some steep fields here. So there's a few bits there that could prove interesting. And certainly it does get steeper over this side. How are you doing? Yeah, you're doing just fine, right. But yeah, it gets steeper over that side. So we'll carry on up here. I'm going to go and we're going to sort of take a look from the top. We've definitely got a strip of field that we could do along here. But, I mean, this does lend itself well to opening up into quite a large field. There's a lot of trees here. The one thing with maps, as far as I know, is that when trees are put into it, doesn't matter what size they are, they don't grow. So these trees are all going to be small trees. It's a little bit of a nuisance. We can't really wait for them to grow. But, I mean, you look around here. You jump out a sec. We've got a nice little clearing here that we can work from. You come up here. It's a little bit steep here in places. But overall, we've got quite a big chunk that goes up to the road that we've just come along. And in a straight line all the way down there. And sort of wrapping around half of the area that we're in. So essentially what we could do is we could cut a line straight down there and then cut out all of this area here. Right? That would be our next project. We'd cut a line straight across there, and then we'd widen that line just so that we'd make absolutely certain that we got a line there, and then we could start working our way around it. It would take a long time. Right? There's no denying that it would take a long time to work through a big chunk like that. And this over here is kind of like pushing towards where the edge of it could come out. You wouldn't be able to come over to that too far. You'd have to kind of stay over this side a little bit, I think, just to keep it clean and tidy. You'd want to run up through here somewhere, I think. Nope, it would have to go that way. So we'd do a run up through there, and that would end up being our next field. That's kind of what I was thinking of for the next field, is to like try and carve a piece there. It would take a long time to be able to remove all those logs, so we would do a bit in here, and then maybe while the hired help is doing some work there, we could do some work up here, and then we come back and we do some more work in here. We can start to break things up a bit. That's what I really like about this project that we'd be able to do, is we'd be able to break things apart quite nicely with that, splitting between the logging and the other work. That being said, we still don't really know what it's going to be like in FS19. So we can't really... I can look at this map, and I can hope that this map will be converted to FS19. But I'm not going to jump straight into a series, right? Because we need to find the perfect map. I did originally think Emerald Valley Logging was going to be the one, but this one here just caught my attention just a little bit more, because the ground has been laid out slightly better for farming. There are places here in amongst the trees here that they are a little bit too steep. Some of these hills are a little bit too much for being able to actually farm. So we'd have like patches that we wouldn't be able to farm very well, or maybe we'd just go with grass in them. We come in here to our next clearing in here. It's the other thing is you've got these clearings, and you could start with the clearings, and you could actually plow up a clearing itself and just take a few trees around the edge of it. If we cut back, say, 10 trees in all the way round in a circle, you'd have a decent bit there. Over this way, you can't really do a lot. There's nothing here that we can do. We can come up to about this point, maybe a little bit further, but then obviously you've got a mountain, so that you're not going to be able to build anything, well, plow this up. That's definitely not going to happen. But maybe, well, I was thinking maybe you could do something up the top, but no, you'd have a whole area here where you wouldn't realistically be able to think about farming it, because it's right up on the ledge. It's just not going to work. So that's not something that we would even consider doing. And then we would go on up here. So you've got, like, there's another loop up there. You've got a bridge going across there. Mountainous area up here wouldn't work. So you've got patches down here that you could turn into farmland, and you've got patches along here that could work very well into farmland. But we're going to head up now more towards the north, and we're going to take a look up there and just see what those are like. And it's sort of planning out where you would put your different fields. So you wouldn't be able to turn the entire map into a big farm, because there are definitely places on the map that we wouldn't be able to work with. But I do like the fact that it's not stupid steep and rough, because that's the one thing with Giants maps, is wherever they've put trees, the ground seems to have been made deliberately, like, harshly uneven in order to prevent you from, like, going in there and turning it into trees. So we're coming along this way. Actually, I wanted to go up to the north first, so we'll go the top side of the Davison Lake there. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but wherever there was forestry on the FS17 official maps, it seemed to be done in such a way that you couldn't go and remove the trees and then plow the land up. It was too rough, it was too uneven, none of the machines would go in there very well and be able to work the land. It's just going to get sort of wedged on the extra bits, and it's not going to work. Up through here, we've got, it's a little bit uneven here in places, but I'm thinking down that way, you know, we've got quite a bit there that would work quite well for this. And the last thing, we do have to make sure that we don't flip our tractor over, because otherwise we're going to lose our fast track, and we really need to keep that one. Okay, let's ease up a little bit. In round here, see, we've got a nice little sort of loop in the middle. There's a river there off to the side, but this piece in the middle, again, it doesn't look like it's too steep. There are some bits in there that is a little bit uneven, which might make life interesting when you're trying to get the combine and stuff in, but generally speaking, I think it would be alright. Now, can I get through the trees to this next bit? There's a piece up here that I want to get to. Actually, I don't want to go up there, do I? I want to just keep going this way. I want to go down there. Oh, no, there's the bridge up there. That's where I want to get up to that bridge. So I do want to go up. I don't know if I can get to the road from this side, or if that's wishful thinking and I shouldn't have done this. We'll probably find I should have done this. But at least we can say we tried. At least we can say that we did give it a go, even if it was the last noble thing we ever did. Nope, we're going to get through. We can get, well, we're going to get through these trees here at least. And there's the track. Okay, we made it. We made it all in one piece. So, like, this track up here is just passing through. There isn't really anything that we can do in the way of farming up this end. But out this side, once you start sort of dropping down a little bit, I think there is more that you're able to do down here. Well, we don't want to do that. You can come down here. You've got like a patch up there, so there's not really a lot that you'd want to do up there. I mean, to be honest, we wouldn't want to be coming up this far. We'd venture up this valley here, clearing the sides here, clearing the area here. We've got an area there, and we'd venture up through here. The Cerner Pass up this side, you know, there seems to be a lot of land there that we could use. Whether we could get round here, whether there's something in the middle here in the lake that we could use, I don't really know. And it doesn't look like we can get across this river at all over here. Just a bit of a shame. So I'm going to just have a look down this way, see if we can. Because if we can't, we're going to spin around and we're going to go back the other way. Because I don't want to be out here forever. And no, I refuse to I said I'm not resetting. No, see, it's too deep here. It's deliberately made this so that we cannot cross this river. That's not going to be an option at all. Crossing the river doesn't happen. The grass planting is doing very nicely. He's got 30% left. I think he's actually going to be able to plant all of this with the one load. Judging by what's left, because we're getting on shorter runs now, he may actually be able to do that on one load. So let's, yeah, we want to turn around now. So we want to go all the way back down to the bottom. We'll stay on this road now, and we'll follow this one all the way back down to the bottom. And we're going to go round the other way. We're going to go past the BGA, and we're going to head up that way a little bit, because there's another piece that I wanted to have a look at up there. Right, yeah, I'm all right to just coast there. Unless I could come down here, because that's where I want to go. We might be able to get down the trees, just following the river along that way. Let's see if we can do that. I'm hoping we can. I'm hoping there's not, like, too many deciduous trees caught up in that. Let's turn some lights on now, shall we? We'll go in round here. And we just, as long as we can keep the river reasonably close by, we should be alright. Bring this on down. Right, this could end up being tricky. I'm hoping I can squeeze in through here. We may end up having to hop out and use the chainsaw in order to cut through a couple of the trees just to let us through, but I think we'll be alright. I don't really want to get too close to that river. The river, just getting even this close to the river is making me a little bit nervous, because, yeah, if we go in there, we ain't coming out again. That's the end of our tractor. So let's go a little bit further away from the river. And we've got this. There we go. There's the track that I'm after. We've got a little steep bit down there. Where's the track? There. Right. So we've got a patch here, which is near. It's the lower side. All of that in there. Look, you can see we've got quite a big area here that I can see around that we'd be able to use. Of course, the question is, I want to go on round this way. How deep is that water? So you've got water there. It's not actually that deep. You've got the dead trees in there. That's swampland rather than an actual river. And the theory is you should be able to drive in that and still use it. Right, we've got these extra trees. I mean, they are slightly different models that they've got in there, but it's shallow water. So we could cut the trees down here if we wanted to, except that for our purposes, it's not really much point because we're not going to be able to farm that land there. So we're not actually after doing that. But what I am wanting to see down here is there's another patch a little bit further down. What would that be like for turning into a field? Because the reason I'm looking around is obviously we're not going to be able to do that in FS17. You know, the series will be coming to an end in just a few weeks' time. But if this map is converted pretty much as it is over to FS19, what are we going to be looking at? Where are we going to be going and what are we going to be farming? So we're coming around here. We've got a wet patch here on the road. So we've got this water over the surface of the road here, but we can still get through. And then you come down here into the wetlands and we can get through. You know, some of this is looking all right. We definitely, I mean, I reckon that we could probably plant stuff in where the trees are in the water, but it's not something that I want to do because there's too much of a break from realism. Says don't drive too deeply in the water right there. I'm hoping that that's just kind of a thing and there's no actual chance of us driving too deeply in the water, because if we can drive, Helper F has completed their task. I doubt that he has actually completed his task, but we won't go and look just yet. We want to come back up this way. So we've got the road that comes around here, and there we have it. This is the bit that I wanted to get to. So you can see the river just to the top of us. Keep pressing M for map. You've got the lake down through there. So you do have to go up round, although we only need to take the short road. We've come up round the loop road all the way down through here. So all of this area here is covered in trees, but we can ignore it for the most part. You've got the lake that runs there, which we would want to ignore. We're working this part. We've got that part there that we said we could work. And then there's this area here that we could also consider working. Let's just quickly jump over to this one. We've got 78 litres left. I don't think 78 litres is going to be quite enough to finish this, but I'm going to run down here and set it going from this side. Ooh. No, see, it does slide around. There is a little bit of weight on this machine. Bring that into there. And yeah, our other field will sort of come out, well, it would come out up that way a little bit. But that would be roughly where it would go. So we'll drop you in here. You're going to start. Okay, you carry on there doing that, and we will go back over this way. Oh no, I wanted to go for a little jog up through here. This was another piece, another field that I wanted to have a look at, just to see if it would be possible to turn this into, well, it's a potential field at the moment. It's not a field, it's potential. And this potential one is good, right? We've got, it's very gentle slopes, it's nice undulating ground, but it's not steep in any way. What about the edges? We've got the hideous, horrible, dastardly deciduous trees along the edge, but we don't have too many of them. Thankfully, he hasn't overdone it with the oh, well. Okay. There are quite a few deciduous trees running along the edge of that one, but at least they are a marker for the edge of the lake. We would probably want to remove them, but we've got a nice big field here that we could then create, possibly putting up some kind of fence or something around the edge. That's still something that I haven't done yet, is got an actual fence mod. It's on my to-do list. It is definitely on my to-do list. I just haven't got round to doing it yet. So getting a fence mod is something that I want to do. So we've got another area there that we can work on for building a new field and working on creating a new field. Keep saying don't drive too deeply in the water, but we are actually alright for driving through most of this. I think that some of the taller machines are not going to have that symbol coming up compared to the shorter machines, but generally speaking they are going to be all right. They're going to be able to come round. With the trees on the side here, we'd probably want to leave them. I would feel a lot more comfortable with this whole map if we were to actually install fence lines right the way around the lakes. If we were using this road on a regular basis, I would feel considerably more comfortable with a fence line installed. And also, we could turn this into quite a big long field all the way up here. And then what we'd actually seriously consider doing is carving a new road higher up the mountain in order to be doing our travelling on, so that we're then able to make better use of the land, and we could plough up the track as well. I think that might be something that would be worth doing. So we're on minus $190 now, and we're going to do another lot of fertilizer, and then we have done it. We have actually planted all of our seed. So the seed has been planted there. That's all going in quite nicely. It's just finishing off now. And then we've got one more lot of fertilizer to do tonight, and then that's that bit done. There's another task all fully completed. So there we go. That one is now done. Look at that. So that's all the grass there. I'm just going to bring this one back round. We've got one little tiny bit of timber there that didn't get consumed. You can see it just rattling around on the track. We can ignore that. Lower you down. And I'm just going to go round the edge. I've got 45 litres of seed left in here. So we're all right for seed. I can't quite get rid of the rest of the seed that we've got in the pallet because there's a full 1,000 litres in there. We'll bring this over here. And that is every single little spot of this is now covered with grass. Every single little tiny bit. I'll lift that up. I don't want to drive too fast this way. I just want to make sure that everything down the other end is also drilled in. And I think that's going to be alright as well. So, we've now got it. We've got a whole field planted with grass. It's all done. It's all planted with grass. The night is nearly upon us. We cannot skip the night. Because we don't have seasons, we cannot skip the night. We've just got to literally just fast forward it. That's the only downside to all of this. Let's bring you over there. I'll lower you down a minute. Shut you off. And we'll go and get this one on. And we will do this little bit of fertilizer spreading. You back round there like that. Come on. And hit you on there. Right. Fertilizer spreading. So we've had a little bit of a drive around while the seed was being drilled. And that has all been drilled in as well. We just want to do this down through here. I'm going to start that one spreading, and I reckon I'm going to use the hired help on this as well, I think. Just because it does make life a lot easier to use the hired help a bit. There, we come on round that way. It's also going to mean that we've got... well, using the hired help is not really going to affect anything. I've left a tiny little bit... Tiny little bits like that I don't think are going to make any difference. Spreading fertilizer in a lake is probably not the best thing to go and do. People do tend to get upset when you spread fertilizer in lakes. I've heard stories. You get the environmental lot onto you, the Environment Agency or whatever they are in the various different countries. They do get upset with you if you spread fertilizer in a lake. They always do. Just it's generally frowned upon. And I have been over... I sort of talked about this before. What it does, it creates an algal bloom. There is a particular name for it. And I can't remember what it is now. But somebody did once tell me. But basically, you have too much fertilizer in the lake. And it creates this bloom of fertilizer. Which then causes all the plants... the fertilizer goes in, there's too much nutrients in the lake. That causes a massive increase in the amount of vegetation that grows in there in the form of algae for the most part. Right, which way are you going to go? Don't do anything stupid. Okay, it's not doing anything stupid at the moment. This is promising. This is very, very promising. This massive bloom of plant life expands out, and it's left a tiny bit there at the top end. That's all right. We'll leave that go. The plant life then explodes, and it basically chokes out everything else. So then the fish can't breathe, and everything dies. And it's really not good. So yeah, fertilizer, it's good to start with, but then after a while it kills everything. So we really don't want that to happen. And there's no sort of telling the Environment Agency, well, I didn't do it, because they can see where the fertilizer came from. They can see it quite clearly as it happens. And there is nothing that you can do about it once it's in there. I think they do have ways of cleaning up some of it. I'm not sure how that works. So it's very clever scientific stuff that is a little bit beyond me. So anyway, we've just got this last little bit to do. And then I'm happy that we've completed our task. We have actually done what I wanted to get done this week. I wanted everything planted. And then next week, we'll be able to just sort of fast forward time a bit. We won't be able to do like loads of fast forwarding of time, but we can do some. Are you going to turn? Yes, you're going to turn. We can't do it like fast. I mean, we'll be able to do it just at a sensible rate. I'm not using the creator tools to be able to fast forward faster, because it does sometimes cause problems, and I don't want problems. So I'll tell you what. I am actually going to start fast forwarding time now. We'll see how this works. With the fertilizer running, we'll start fast forwarding the time right now, and we'll then see. So the sun will set at the end of the first day. There we go, beautiful sunset. End of the first day, and then the sun will rise in the morning. We're gonna work by night. Hopefully the hired help will put the lights on in a minute. Lights have come on. Oh no, that was just the reverse light. That was just the reversing light. So there we go, beautiful sunset while he works. It actually looks quite good, that does. And yeah, well, we need to do one more lot of fertilizer first. That's got to be the first thing we do. One more lot of fertilizer. Then after we've done that one lot of fertilizer, we got to wait for it to grow some more. We want to go through both growth stages. I want this to be right on the final growth stage. Ah, you didn't like that one, did you? Me back that round there a minute, and home turns that one off. I always forget what the beacon is. Actually, if I bring this one over this side, I'll bring it around here, I think, and I'll start from there, because I'm not quite sure where the other edge is. So we got that bit, and then I can come back at the very finish and just do that little bit down there. But this then should run down there to the edge of the field, spin round, do another bit. Should be alright. Get to you. Now what are you going to do? Go for. Ah, I see. Right, it's going to go forward, and it's going to back round, and it's going to do. So it'll probably leave a little tiny bit right there, but I'm hoping it will go up and it will turn around properly at the top end as well. At least that's the theory of this. Yeah. Tiny little bit, but not very much. Plus, we got a bit there, and I think there's another little bit over in that corner that we haven't done. The rest of it is actually fertilized. Let's have a look. This will soon tell me. I got a little tiny bit there, and a little bit there, and then a little bit down there. That's all we've got to worry about. Let's take that off. I can see things a little bit clearer. Right. That's looking good. You're coming out there. Where are you going now? Oh, no, you're turning round and backing up. Hopefully it's not going to be interfering with those machines over there. And there we go. There's all of our expenses. We got $1,600 in loan interest, $9 in vehicle leasing costs, and $1,100 in vehicle running costs. The running costs, yes. The $9 in leasing costs, that is for our little DJ Phantom thing that we got over there that we take our weekly screenshots with. That one is staying on the leasing tab, because that's kind of like a little bit of an aside. But also that $9, that would, I feel, account for the fuel that we use in the chainsaw. It was recommended, suggested by a couple of people, that I should, in fact, have some kind of monetary drain to represent fuel being used in the chainsaw. And I agree. However, chainsaws don't use a lot of fuel. They don't use a lot of oil either. And it's usually quite cheap to run them. I suppose it would be a little bit more than $10 a day. Maybe I could lease another machine or something as well to just kind of fill that last little discrepancy in. But I think overall it's not too bad. We got Cloud coming in. I hate Cloud. I really do hate Cloud in this game. That's one of the things that I dislike, is having cloud cover on any days, because it always just makes the video come out a little bit dreary, and I've never liked that. Just a little bit of fertilizer needed there, and then there was a little strip over this side, and oh, there we go. Right. Well, I've actually now missed one fertilizer application over on this side, but I could just start. Actually, I can immediately start doing the next application of fertilizer, and those little bits that are left, we'll worry about that right at the very end. I can always come back over and do a little bit more for one more pass. So we've got I think I've got it on normal growth speed. Yes, it's on normal plant growth, and we've actually got our first. Look! The grass is there. We've got grass growing on the ground. The sun is ooh. Okay, that sunrise is looking pretty good. It's coming up from over there. I like the way that the lighting is coming in on that. It's rising up over the mountain, so you're just kind of catching the first light early in the morning on there. That's beautifully done, actually. That is very beautifully done. This one is going to run all the way down to the far end before he stops, isn't he? Yeah. A little bit of a waste of fertilizer there, but I can live with that. I'm actually going to stop it there. So we've done one little bit. We'll carry on with this in our next episode, because I want to do a piece around the edge and like secure the bottom end of the pond and stuff like that as well, just to make sure that it's all in the right place. We could do with a refill as well. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.